guys, I'm Layla. Today we're checking out some Raid Shadow Legends. We're going to be reading the lore story for Aragaz Wyldking. Brand new, faction warlord leader for the orcs. And I really love his design. I think they nailed it. And even look at the ring on his feet. That is so cool. Really like what they did. So I hope that his story touches on the design because I think they nailed it for the orc faction here. He looks amazing. Now, I haven't seen this story at all. I wanted to wait for you guys. So let's read it together. When Siroth launched the Second Great War, the whole world held its breath. Truces were made, alliances forged, grudges set aside, and almost all of their concerns faded to insignificance. Heroes emerged and rallied their people, for all Teleria knew that they had to stand together and fight or else be destroyed. One of the great leaders of the war was Aragaz, called Wyldking, for his affinity with the wilderness and its creatures, especially the hyenas that he made his totem animal. From a youth, he admired the individual ferocity, tenacity, and communal cooperation, fearing them and respecting them equally. Aragaz was at one point an unlikely warlord. He was part of a Dusk Hills orc clan, whose members were beset by hunger, thirst, foul weather, and predators. Aragaz resented the struggle, the sacrifices, the ancestral sense of alienation. He thought that orcs should take a place among the urbanites and agrarians of the great kingdoms and city-states, reconciling. Even more than he wished for orcs to be accepted, he wished for them to accept each other. To him, the constant casual warfare between orc clans was tragically wasteful. These views would have made him craven and pathetic in the eyes of his clanmates, even subversive, so he held his tongue. He did this for 2 decades. Everything changed when Aragaz returned to a routine hunt to fight twisted, blood-soaked demon spawn, vanguard to the Second Great War, cutting down the cream of his clan's warriors. Aragaz charged at the mist of the demon spawn from behind, taking them by surprise, and buying the orcs under attack breathing room. But they were shattered and terrified, and victory was impossible, so Aragaz urged them to make a fighting retreat with him and to regroup. The clan leaders were all dead. Aragaz suggested his clan's remnants join forces with those of former rival clans, whom they found had also been beset by demon spawn. He was a gruff, abrasive, and uncompromising negotiator, short on charm and charisma. But his clear-eyed logic forced his own people and survivors of other clans to concede. They only stood a chance by working together. Aragaz and his followers camped in the hills, accepting any orc refugees they encountered. They also began a guerrilla campaign against the demon spawn. Adopting the canny tactics of hyena packs, Aragaz harried and harassed the invaders, chipping away at their numbers and melting back into the landscape when attacked in strength. He used false flags and forged letters to direct demon spawn forces into ruinous engagements. Fate attacked from multiple directions stretched the defenders of demon spawn encampments thin, only for Aragaz to lead a spearhead charge into their heart, cackling and howling like a hyena pack alpha as he did so. The orcs under his command found his skulking, tricksy stratagems inglorious at first. With victory came acceptance, however, and finally pride. Orcs flocked to his banners. After months of hard fighting and rough living, Aragaz drove the demon out spawn by a large swath of the Dusk Hills. Pushing into the Kraken Desert, he encountered armies under the Arbiter's direct command, recovering from her own battles. Thirst, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate that. He hurried to offer his strength to their cause, but when the humans and elves saw an approaching orc horde, they reacted hostily. Even when Lightbringers arbitrated between them to ensure they worked together as part of the Arbiter's Grand Coalition, old prejudices against orcs were impossible to extinguish. Aragaz's totemic embrace of the hyena did not help, for the beasts were associated with death, disease, and malice in the eyes of the civilized world. His forces won many triumphs, disrupting the enemy's crucial lines of supplies and intelligence. More than once, his forces' intervention saved elements of the Arbiter's forces on the brink of destruction, sometimes at heavy cost in orc lives. Regardless, his efforts were dismissed and diminished by non-orcs. By the waning weeks of the Great War, Aragaz's old belief that the orcs should seek partnership with the other peoples of Teleria had been destroyed. His orcs were by then fiercely loyal to him, having long since overcome their clan disputes and ceased in fighting under his leadership. If that was to be his legacy, he was content with it. If the rest of Teleria would look down upon the orc no matter what, then orcs should stand united against the world that scorned them so. For generations afterwards, Aragaz was known as a symbol of the orcs' stubborn pride and dignity, their unwillingness to compromise, and refusal to passively accept the abuse of their oppressors. He had become a prickly, moody, sharp-tongued leader, but those very traits became a point of pride for his followers and admirers. To this day, many orc clans in the Dusk Hills hold the hyena as a totemic creature and sing the praises of the Wild King. All right, guys, I love it. I think the story was done really, really well. And some of that makes sense because I think we could actually see like some hyena cloth on here. So I think they did a really, really good job setting this guy apart as why he would basically be considered like this kind of like faction, warlord faction leader for the orcs. I would love to know what you guys think of the lore story. Drop me a comment down below. And hey, thanks for watching.